What if your computer didn't just run programs, but actually learned like a brain? Today, we're going to dive into a field that's trying to make that a reality. It's called neuromorphic computing, and honestly, it's poised to change everything we think we know about machines. So let's just start with that big, wild question. What if computers could actually think like a human brain? And I'm not just talking about processing data faster. I mean learning, adapting, and solving problems all while using a tiny fraction of the energy. That right there, that's the core promise of neuromorphic computing. So, how is this even possible? Well, it all starts by understanding that we're talking about a completely new kind of computer. So, what exactly is neuromorphic computing? Well, at its heart, it's an approach to building computer systems that are directly inspired by the brain. The goal isn't just to run fancy AI programs on normal hardware, but to build the hardware itself to reflect the brain's architecture. The key word here is mimic. Think about the computer you're using right now. It works sequentially, kind of like dominoes falling one by one. Neuromorphic systems, they're completely different. They're massively parallel, which means they're doing millions of things all at once. And this is huge, they're event-driven. That means they only use power when new information, an event, actually happens. This is a massive leap in efficiency. Okay, so if we're mimicking the brain, what does that blueprint actually look like when we try to translate it into technology, into silicon? You know, the translation from biology to silicon is almost a one-to-one mapping. It's pretty amazing. The brain's neurons become the chip's computational units. The synapses, the connections between the neurons, are modeled as weighted connections. And the electrical spikes that neurons use to talk to each other, those become the discrete signals that carry information through the system. All right, so we've got the blueprint, but how do we actually get a piece of silicon to communicate using these brain-like spikes? This requires a really, really deep integration of both software and hardware. The software at the heart of this whole field is something called spiking neural networks, or SNNs for short. Now, unlike the neural networks you've probably heard about in today's AI, which process these continuous streams of data, SNNs communicate using individual, discrete events called spikes. It's a completely different language for information. And right here, this is the absolute game changer. The most crucial point is that information isn't just an if a spike happens, but precisely when it happens. The timing between the spikes carries all this rich, complex information, which makes the whole system incredibly efficient and powerful. This all comes together through a few really cool concepts. You've got temporal dynamics, that's the crucial spike timing we just talked about. Then there's event-driven computation, meaning neurons only fire when they have something to say, which saves a ton of energy. And finally, they learn through a process called spike timing dependent plasticity, or STDP. The easy way to think about it is this. Neurons that fire together wire together. The timing of their spikes literally strengthens or weakens their connection, letting the network learn and adapt all by itself. But here's the catch. You can't just download an SNN and run it on your laptop and expect to get all these amazing benefits. To truly tap into the power of thinking in spikes, you need computer chips that are built for the job from the ground up. And this isn't science fiction. This hardware actually exists. We've got major projects like Intel's Low-High chips, IBM's True North, and the university-led Spinnaker systems. These are real-world silicon chips designed from day one to operate like a biological brain. And that leads us to one of the most critical concepts in this whole field, hardware-software co-design. See, you don't just write a program and then run it on the chip. No. Instead, the AI algorithms and the hardware's architecture are developed together, in perfect sync. This tight integration is the secret sauce for achieving that incredible brain-like efficiency. So, it's really important to understand that this isn't just a slightly better version of what we have now. This represents a totally different path for artificial intelligence, one that goes way beyond the current paradigm of deep learning. I mean, the contrast with traditional AI is just stark. Today's AI is incredibly data hungry, and it consumes a massive amount of energy. Brain-inspired AI, on the other hand, is designed to learn from way fewer examples and run on ultra-low power. And maybe the biggest deal of all, current models are static. You have to retrain them completely to update them. Neuromorphic systems can learn continually and adapt in real time. So what does all this mean for the future? Well, it means that our most advanced technology is going to be inspired by the most advanced machine we know of, the human brain. So where are we going to see this technology? The applications are so exciting. Think about robots that can instantly adapt to new environments, smart sensors that can process data without needing the cloud, more intuitive brain-machine interfaces, and autonomous vehicles that make split-second decisions using very little power. Now, if this technology is so revolutionary, you might be asking yourself, okay, so why isn't it everywhere already? And that's a fair question. As with any brand new frontier, there are some pretty significant hurdles to overcome. You have to remember this field is still young. There's a big lack of standardized software and tools, which makes it pretty challenging for new developers to jump in. Training these spiking neural networks is, for now, still more complex than training traditional models, and getting access to the specialized hardware is still pretty limited. So what's the big takeaway? The success of neuromorphic computing really boils down to perfecting the synergy between three key ingredients: the brain-like software of SNNs, the specialized hardware built to run them, and that co-design philosophy that binds them all together. And let's just end with this thought. The next great leap in artificial intelligence may not come from building bigger and bigger models that consume more and more power. Instead, the future may belong to systems that are smarter, leaner, and, well, fundamentally more like us. Neuromorphic computing is a huge step in that direction,